welcome to the return of In Defense of. I am your host, Ryan, the Indie Nerd, also known as the two-time reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Deep Six Wrestling. And I am here to have yet another talk about something controversial, hated, disliked, something in wrestling that people just debate with. And today's topic is one that definitely is picking up steam as the last few weeks have gone on, and it is CM Punk and him not getting back in the ring. Now, a lot of people have been talking about CM Punk's return to WWE with the whole WWE backstage show on FS1. A lot of people thinking that, since he's back in WWE, he is going to get the itch to return to wrestling. Everyone gets it. Look at Shawn Michaels, look at Hulk Hogan, look at Ric Flair, all after they supposedly retired and then coming back and having another match in either TNA or the Indies or WWE. Something has brought them back to wrestling. And with CM Punk, he's still young, younger at least than other legends that have come back. He's definitely going to get that itch. He was the best in the world, and everybody's now talking about possible dream matches, whether it's just casual fans, the hardcore fans, or even the wrestlers themselves, as once he made his return to talking about wrestling on WWE backstage, you had the likes of Seth Rollins, I believe Ricochet, some of the guys in NXT, all talking about CM Punk, trying to get under his skin on Twitter to try to get some sort of feud started online. But CM Punk has been very adamant since he left WWE that he is done with wrestling. And I think he should be. I think that in this day and age, we have way too many people who are just coming back for the paycheck. And CM Punk has been very adamant that everything he does is for his family, him and AJ Lee, and as well as him mentally. He wants his mental state to be right. He wants his physical state to be right. But also he said that if he came back to WWE for the FS1 show, it would be for the paycheck. And he's getting that with the Fox money. And he doesn't have to, listen to Vince in his ear all the time. He doesn't have to play by the rules of creative. But I think that, maybe the itch will come back for Punk. And maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the line, if they're still doing Saudi shows or if they're still getting money from other countries to have big guys come back out of retirement and try to impress upon them to have one more match or return into the ring, I think, maybe in that case. But with CM Punk, at this moment, I don't think that it is the right time for him to get back in the ring. And I'm going to explain why that is. I think CM Punk was a great wrestler. I think that once you have the skill that he has, the charisma, the ability on the mic, the ability in the ring, all put together, I don't think it's hard to lose that, even if you haven't been practicing and honing those skills for a few years now. I believe it's been about 5.5. I believe it was 2014 he left, so about 5 years. It'll be 6 years in January and February of next year, when the Rumble and Wrestlemania season come around, which would be when I think, if he did return, it would be around then. He said that you never say never with this, and I do think that eventually there might be a time where he's like, okay, the itch is too strong, I've got to get back in there. But to come back and immediately get thrust into top tier programming, it's not good for the rest of the company. Now, he will draw, as we saw just with him being on WWE Backstage. They increased almost 80,000 viewers in just one episode, just because he was announced for it. And I think that shows that a show that has no wrestling whatsoever, it's just a talk show that they have some guests on to talk about different things in the WWE Universe, his presence is just going to draw people in. With him, if he decides to come back and goes on NXT, Raw, SmackDown, he's going to get people to come back to watch it. But he's also going to take a spot away from talent who has been there for a while. And there are right now so many deserving people that need to get that elevation to be on the main stage, that having CM Punk just thrust into a program with, I don't know, Lesnar or Seth, it's eliminating the build for other top guys to be elevated. And we saw this a little bit with the IC title a few months ago, where it looked like Ali was going to get it, and then all of a sudden they just kind of dropped it, brought in The Miz, and they didn't do anything really with that. That's a mid-card part. CM Punk coming in would be like having a feud already built between Seth Rollins and Humberto Carrillo, if they had continued that storyline after the one match they had, and then say, oh, CM Punk's here. Sorry, Humberto, you're going back down the card. And maybe after CM Punk is done with this, you might get raised up, but it will depend on how you're looking. If you're not going to give them that opportunity to succeed, the opportunity to showcase their skills, then you aren't going to be able to build these stars anymore. And that's been the issue with WWE over the last few years, is they haven't been able to build a star that the WWE Universe enjoys or feels a connection with. It took Roman Reigns to step away from the ring for a while with his cancer for the WWE Universe to be like, wait, we've been booing this guy for so long. He's actually a pretty good wrestler. He's got the star power. Why have we been dismissive of him? In the heel department, you have Drew McIntyre, who was built up on the indies. He came through NXT, and everybody loved him in NXT. He comes to the main roster, he's immediately thrust into a side role with Dolph Ziggler. And then you have him being the lackey for Shane McMahon a few months later. You have him being part of the quote-unquote evil shield, with Corbin being the leader, and again, McIntyre being kind of like a lackey again. And then it looks like, okay, maybe Drew might be getting a push. He might be going up for a singles title, and they just continued a feud with Roman for a while that nobody really cared about. He hasn't really had a shot at the world title. He got injured, came back, and he was the lackey for Team Flair, and now he's in a feud with Kevin Owens where it's not for a title, it's not for anything. They're now going to have to try to work together for Survivor Series. We know how that's going to go. One of them's going to probably turn on the other, get the other eliminated, fight, brawl, whatever, and it's going to be detrimental to Team Raw, which is why I do not think Team Raw can win. But they haven't been able to make a new top heel or a new top babyface that the fans can get behind, at least on the main roster. And if you put in CM Punk to put on programs with other guys, they're not going to be winning their matches. They're going to be losing to Punk. People want to see Punk get the world title back. They want to see him be the top guy again. And that's going to sacrifice the work that they have for other guys. Unfortunately, that just seems like what the WWE is fine with. They do not care about building stars as much as they used to in the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. It feels like almost a throwback to the Rock and Wrestling and the Hogan years, where they're just like, okay, we're fine with just having this one guy or these two guys that are just going to be used nonstop. And those guys are Brock Lesnar, who nobody really cares about anymore, Rey Mysterio, who I think most people are good with because they like him and he was already a star before he came back. Everybody knows his work. Everybody knows how great he is. And he's not getting pushed down our throat. It feels like we, as fans, deserve him. But if he gets beaten up by Brock again, it's just going to feel like, what was the point of sacrificing somebody who the fans were finally connecting with and the fans really wanted to win? And then you have Seth, who the fans are starting to revolt against as the top babyface because of his actions on Twitter, his comments in the media about AEW and other wrestling wrestlers such as Will Ospreay, who a lot of people do enjoy. You have on SmackDown, you have The Fiend, who I don't even know what they're doing with. Yeah, he's the champion, but with the way they booked him against Rollins, it was weird. Or is that what he's just going to do all the time in matches? Is he's just going to get the crap beat out of him and then somehow magically win? But he's the heel. Like, you shouldn't have a courageous heel who's overcoming the odds of the baby face. Like, that just doesn't make sense. You've got Daniel Bryan, who is, again, he's been a star for a while. They haven't had to make him a star. He's been a star for over a decade at this point, in Ring of Honor, in different indie promotions, and of course in the WWE before. And you have Roman Reigns, who is in a very silly feud that nobody cares about with Baron Corbin, who even the WWE Backstage show has been crapping on, including CM Punk. And I think that if you're going to throw CM Punk anywhere, he'd have to go on SmackDown. And you would be either sacrificing a storyline with Daniel Bryan and The Fiend. You'd be canceling out the Roman and Baron Corbin feud, which, I mean, you don't want to have Corbin lose another feud because he's been booked terribly since getting the King gimmick, and if you have him go up against Punk, yeah, there'll be some really good segments because they're both very talented on the mic, but you don't want Punk to immediately come in and beat up somebody who, every time it looks like they're gonna actually go through and pull the trigger on Corbin as the top heel, who might get the title one day, it feels like they just take it out from under him. You had it with Money in the Bank. Everybody was like, okay, well, he's going to beat Jinder Mahal. And then he lost to Jinder Mahal with his cash-in. You had him build up, and it looked like, okay, well, he's going to go head-to-head with Seth Rollins after he retired Kurt Angle. Maybe this is the point where Corbin's going to get his title. No. Then they gave him King of the Ring, and everybody was like, okay, well, they butchered the last few King of the Rings. Maybe this will be the change. They gave him a really good costume. They really let him run with it, but then they had him lose to the person that he beat King of the Ring for, because you have to have that 50-50 booking. And now he's in this weird feud with Roman Reigns that nobody cares about. And if you were just to say, okay, well, We need a babyface that the fans are going to like, who will go after Corbin, and they can have good matches. They can have good back and forths. Let's throw in CM Punk. CM Punk is going to win, and it's going to make Corbin look worse. You're not going to have Punk be a heel right away, because the fans are not going to accept him as a heel. They're going to cheer anything he does. He could go out there and tell the fans that you are the worst people. They would cheer that because it's coming from CM Punk's mouth, and it would backfire on the company immediately. He needs to stay away from the ring for the time being. At least a year more away, so you can put to bed all the different angles that you have working now. You can have some more people start to be built up, and then you can try to go and be like, okay, we've tried this for more months, it's not getting through, our ratings are starting to go down even further, the fans are not connecting with anybody, let's just bring him back. And maybe at that point you won't be like, okay, well, if we have him have a long build to a Mania match, maybe don't even have the title on him. Maybe he's just going after, he wants that one more match or something like that, and he wants it to be a dream match. Have it against Bryan, have it against AJ, have it against Seth if we really want to. But you have to make sure that it's not hurting the rest of the company, the rest of the talent, because if you sacrifice the rest of the talent for this one-off match at a Saudi show, which I don't think he would do because of his political beliefs, because of his outspokenness, and especially because he doesn't want to put pressure on his mental state or his family, his wife's mental state, or physical state, or anything like that. He wants it to be on his terms, and I don't think he would come back just to be like, okay, I really want that Saudi money. It doesn't seem like something Punk would do. I think if he is gonna ever return to the ring, it's going to be for like one more push, get a push, maybe a title, and put somebody over eventually. But I don't know if the WWE would want that. At least right now they wouldn't, because they are so caught up in this whole AEW rising, and we're going to put who we think are the stars, not the fans. And the fans need to have some sort of control back. They need to be able to say, all right, these are the people we like that are currently on the roster. Do not bury them. Do not make them look weak out, week after week after week, because if you do that, you're going to lose more and more fans. And if you just say, okay, we don't want to make more superstars, let's just give you the CM Punk, I don't think the fans are going to react as well as you think. Yeah, they'll be very happy that Punk is back, but if it doesn't lead to anything major happening, what was it worth? So that is my take on the CM Punk situation. I think that, yes, he can return to the ring maybe a year or so from now, but at this very moment, stay away from the ring. Keep him on WWE Backstage. Keep generating views there. Maybe put him as a commentator, because he is amazing on the mic, and he has even said that he wanted to go to a commentating role when it was with the UFC. He wanted to transition into that after his 2 matches, and then I think he would immediately work very well as either a heel or a babyface commentator. I think that he just has that presence. He has the ability to talk so well and understand the matches that he would put a lot of eyes back on it just because he's talking. And if you give him that platform, it's gonna help. He can help put people over just by him talking. Eventually, if you don't want to use him as a commentator, put him as a manager. He can get physical with certain people, but he can also try to help elevate somebody that maybe can't talk as well as he does. The world is his oyster right now, and he clearly doesn't want to be anywhere except in a secure position. And I think with the WWE, with the Fox deal, he is in the most secured place that he possibly can be. Unless he does something crazy where he just starts bad-mouthing WWE ownership or leadership, I don't think that he can do anything wrong, that he's going to leave this position. I think he is in a perfect spot where he is, and I do think that eventually he will get used in other ways than just the WWE backstage role. And I think that if they do this properly, if they do book it where he is going to commentate, or he wants one more run and he's going to put over somebody else instead of just being like, okay, here's him at a match, special match, he wins, ruin a storyline that was already there. I think that this could be really good for both the WWE, the talent, and CM Punk. So that is my take. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it, but you can talk about it. I hope that this generates some sort of conversation on YouTube, on our Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling, on Facebook at Deep Six Wrestling. Message me if you want at RCS Rocks or any of the other Deep Six members. Say if you have any takes that you want to have defended, or maybe that you want to bring up and see if I can do a counterpoint to, I would enjoy that. Again, this has been Ryan the Indie Nerd, the Deep Six 2-time champion, and I will see you next time.